Well, hello there. Thanks for stopping by, and good to see you. Um, and I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. You may know that we've been having quite a bit of weather in Europe, Northern Europe. Last week, this week, it's headed off to Greece, which is snowed under, according to some of the pictures I've seen on LinkedIn. And also to the States, where even as far as south as Texas is suffering from what's termed snowmageddon, I believe. In the UK, the cold weather that came in from the east was termed in the press the beast from the east. In fact, it was beast from the east number 2. We had one earlier in the winter. I understand that in Germany they call it the Russian whip, whereas in Finland they just call it Tuesday. Anyway, suffice to say that out here in my office, rather grandly named office, it was too flaming cold to actually concentrate on anything long enough to get you my comments for the week. So here we are again. What it did do, though, a week of enforced stay indoors, was given the opportunity to catch up with what the UN Subcommittee of Experts had been up to at its meeting. Started at the end of November, I think it was 30th of November, and ran through for about 10 days into December. This was, in fact, the last chance for the UN Subcommittee to make any changes that will appear in the new edition of the Orange Book, the UN Model Regulations on the Transport of Dangerous Goods, the 22nd revised edition of which is due to go to print in the next month or two and should be with us mid-year. And quite a lot had been decided, in fact, seeing as the UN subcommittee had to miss its summer show because of the COVID-related restrictions. The experts had been working in the meantime via an online workspace, I think it's termed, so that by the time they got together virtually again at the start of December, pretty much everything was discussed online and decided. There were still some discussions, of course. You never have a regulatory meeting without arguments. There was a lot on lithium batteries, which I won't cover here, thank you, so you can stay tuned. But one thing did pique my interest from this meeting, and it was a brief paper actually from China, which noted that in the current 21st revised edition of the Orange Book, UN 3208, which is metallic substance, water reactive NOS, is in its packing group 2 row anyway, assigned E0 for accepted quantities. Means it can't be shipped to another limited quantity exemption. China said, well, hold on, there's another 5 water reactive entries, all of which for Division 4.3 Packing Group 2 have E2 for the accepted quantities, which means you can use the accepted quantity exemptions to get out of some of the other requirements. This looks like a mistake, they said. And bless them, the subcommittee said, well, yeah, looks like it is. Especially, as China pointed out, that the ICAO technical instructions have got E2 against it. I've just checked the new ADR, which has E0. And that's this year's ADR, of course, is the one that is taken from the 21st revised edition. So the subcommittee agreed that was a mistake, and they'll change it in the 22nd. ICAO actually noticed this and popped up to say, well, actually, yes, we had noticed that. And it would appear that somebody made a typographical error, because what you've got is E0 against UN 3208 and E2 against UN 3209, the next entry in the dangerous goods list, where for backing group 2 it's E2. Now 3209 is metallic substances, water reactive, self-heating NOS. So these are evidently more hazardous than 3208, metallic substances, water reactive NOS. And yet they had E2 instead of E0. And in fact, Gao pointed out that 3209 should have E0, not E2, and 3208 should have E2, not E0. Well, that's, the outcome of a fairly basic typographical error, human error, in the setting out, the laying out of the provisions agreed for the last edition of the Orange Book. Now, as far as I know, and they haven't entered it as the correction to the 21st edition, so the current regulations that we're working with, ADR, RID, IMDG code, have the wrong E code for 3208 and 3209. Now, there's some ways around that, of course. Somebody might, if they felt like it, initiate a multilateral agreement under ADR to make the change that's necessary. Or if you are shipping 3208 anywhere, and you want to ship it in accepted quantities, then you can probably go to your competent authority and say, "Oi, can I do this? Can I get an approval or a special permit or whichever it would be in your relevant jurisdiction in order to be able to take advantage of those allowances under the accepted quantity rules?" It's a bit of a faff, but it can be done. But my thoughts turn to the poor shipper. If you as a shipper had made a mistake like that, you had used a E code for accepted quantities that didn't exist in the dangerous goods list, or was erroneous, and it was discovered in transit, then you could be sure that the authorities would come down on you with whatever level of hardness they have at their disposal, which varies from country to country, of course. And it would be no use bleating about it afterwards. Whereas the regulators, as far as I can tell, will get away with this scot-free. Now I know they've got a very difficult job to do, and the books are big and complicated, and little mistakes like this are bound to happen from time to time. So we can't be too hard on them. But is it one rule for us and one rule for them? I don't know. But if you do happen to be shipping a water reactive substance, do make sure you check, and if in doubt, talk to your competent authority. That's the message for this week. Over the coming week, there are some big financial results due out. So next week, I may have a little chat about how the world has been doing over the past 12 months. From what I've seen so far, there have been some interesting variations here and there, depending on where you live and what sort of business you're involved in. So, meanwhile, if you're in a place where it is still snowing, take care, keep warm, and hope to see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.